Mazanowski here with Mindz Media. I know many of you business owners are likely sitting down and having conversations about your 2025 marketing budgets about now. And if you're not, you will be soon. Marketing is kind of one of those topics that's a little bit mysterious for some business owners. So I thought while you are in planning and prep mode for your budgets for 2025, that I would bring to you some expert knowledge on the topic of marketing. And I've been at this now for about 8-9 years in my career. Prior to that, just being a business owner for the last 15, and my degree is accounting and a lot of marketing classes and business classes along the way. So the marketing industry is ever changing, so I am ever learning, constantly surrounding myself with experts around the country, attending workshops and conferences, audiobooks, things like that. Anything I can get my hands on to bring that knowledge back to my clients and future clients. And I meet with business owners all day, every day. And too often I hear, I tried that, it didn't work. But when we really break it down, it isn't so much that a method of advertising isn't good, but more so that they didn't do it long enough, or that was the only thing that they were doing. And so many people are hung up on this whole ROI thing, which I'm also going to touch on. Guys, which one method a lead came from is so 1980s, so I'll explain that. After that, I'm going to break down the different types of marketing for the various stages of the customer journey, give you a little bit about online presence and reviews and reputation, talk about competition and collaboration. I'm going to break all this into a series of bite-sized mini segments for you so that you can take this knowledge in pieces, or you can watch it all the way through if you want. But first things first, and a topic that I think that regardless of who you talk to in the industry, one thing that we would all likely agree on is the amount that a business should be investing back into marketing. And notice I said investment and not expense. I often find when talking with businesses that they view marketing as an expense, and then suddenly that feels like this negative thing and something that maybe could be cut. But truly, guys, if you're not growing, you're dying. And even if you think that you have all of the business that you think that you can handle, you have to keep that pipeline full. The minute that pipeline starts to run dry, you're scrambling with money that you don't have, trying to fill it back up again. It's about building and keeping your brand top of mind now as well as into the future. It's about staying relevant and maintaining your share of the market. If you cut back or stop completely, somebody new in the industry or an existing competitor is going to come in and snag your portion of the market share. There might be times to let up a little, there may be times you need to step on the gas, but generally speaking, you should be investing 5 to 10% back into your business for marketing. 5 to 10% of your gross revenue. Now, on the low end of that would be for a business who is maybe kind of wanting to start out slow, or an established business that just wants to be in maintain mode. The higher end, closer to the 10%, would be a newer business wanting to come out swinging, or for an established business that's in growth mode wanting to take their business to the next level. So 5 to 10%, guys. And I don't think you're doing that. I really don't. I don't. In fact, many of you have told me that you're spending 1 to maybe 3% of your gross revenue, and that's just not enough. If people don't know you're in business, you may as well not be in business. And if you're not growing, well, none of us like the alternative. Invest 5 to 10% into marketing for your budget this year. More to come on choosing the right channels based on your target market. Steph Mazanowski here with Mindz Media and another installment of the Mindz mini-series on marketing. Now that you have your marketing budget set somewhere between 5 and 10% of your gross revenue, like we just talked about in the previous segment, the question now is, which method of advertising do you choose? But in order to decide that, you need to first identify your target market. And it's possible you may have more than one target market, but I will tell you that not everyone is your client, and that's okay. 80% of your business is going to come from 20% of the people. And not everyone has the same target market, and not everyone needs the same methods of advertising. But we pretty much have it covered here in the community, so regardless what you need, we're here for you. So narrow in on the 1 or 2 segments of the people that you're trying to reach, and then think about what are their buying behaviors? Where do they hang out? What media are they consuming? That's where you want to put your brand. An extreme example of what not to do would be if you're trying to reach the elderly, probably wouldn't be wise to put your brand on TikTok. But On the other end of the coin, an easy example would be, say, trying to reach families with kids. An example of a few spots that might make sense for that would be at the pony fields, the billboard by the pony fields on Ireland Grove. Maybe an ad might be in Sports Magazine, and maybe some digital ads that target parents. All of those places, people are likely to see you, the same eyeballs are likely to see you, and more likely to remember you. So just think through who you're trying to reach, where they hang out, what media they're consuming. And that, my friends, is where you want to be. And then once you've determined those places, multiple places, guys, the days of being able to advertise your business in one place are gone. We are inundated all day, every day with brand after brand after brand, logos everywhere we look, online, on billboards, on cars, on trucks, magazines, on the TV, on the radio, thousands of brands a day. And if I gave you a list of 100 things, you'd probably be able to tell me a few of them or remember a few of them. But if I give you a list of 5,000 things, we just can't process that. That's why we need to see things 8 to 15 times in order for it to start becoming familiar, for us to even consider possibly buying it. So advertising in one spot for a short time just doesn't work anymore. And if you feel like nothing works and that's what you've been doing, then that's why. So if you consider the buying funnel or the sales funnel, whatever you want to call it, outside of the funnel at any given moment is 60% of the people. These people have no idea who you are or what your business is. They don't know that you have a solution to their problem. They've never interacted with your brand. And then there's a layer of about 20% of the people who know who you are, but don't necessarily know that you have a solution to their problem or that they even have a problem. And then under that is about 17% of the people who know who you are, know that you have a solution to their problem, and they're actually in research mode comparing you to your competitors and trying to determine which one of you to choose. And at the very bottom is a little segment of about 3% of the people who are in emergency mode, need your product or service right now. They're ready to buy, not necessarily from you, but just from whoever can give them the best deal or who is the most convenient in that moment. Those are your coupon clippers. And I will tell you that when they need your product or service again, do you think those people are going to come back to you and be loyal customers? No, they're going to jump ship and go to whoever has the next best deal. So each of these layers warrant different methods of advertising in order to continue to move them from unaware to aware, aware to considering to buyers, and buyers to loyal customers. And this is something that I think that everybody in the industry can also agree on, is you need to invest in multiple channels. Hit them from multiple directions so that no matter which direction they are facing, they see you. And you need to be consistent across all the platforms, longer term, repetitive. It's just human nature for us to choose what is familiar. More to come on competitors and collaboration. Steph Mazanowski here with Masterminds Media and another installment of the Masterminds mini-series on marketing. Despite what you may initially think, competition is actually a good thing. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you striving towards greatness. It keeps you from settling into a sense of complacency. When it comes to your business, you do want to have a unique selling point, a unique selling proposition, USP, something besides price that sets you apart, because at the end of the day, if all things are equal, the buyer's going to choose what's cheaper all the time. But if there's an extra value to your product or service that they cannot get from your competitors, then you're going to have an edge. But also, just don't be afraid to collaborate with your competitors. It draws attention to your industry as a whole. There's multiple instances around the community where I witness a room full of competitors who surely have an end goal of winning their share of the market, but together they're able to leverage each other's knowledge, learn and grow from each other along the way. Take the Senior Care Network, for example. That's a group of senior care centers from around the area and other businesses that touch the senior industry. They gather together each month and inform each other, lean on each other, what's happening in the industry, and it also strengthens the overall experience around the community for the senior market because they do that. Another example is the 4 sand volleyball venues that get together every single year for the Volleypalooza event for charity. And as part of that planning committee, it has been such a joy to watch those 4 business owners become friends in the industry and leverage each other for as business consultants about what's happening in the restaurant and bar industry versus worrying about whether a team's going to jump ship and like somebody's court better. I'm a photographer, and I have a few photography friends that we borrow equipment from each other. We talk shop. We understand that there's plenty of work to go around, and it would be exhausting and unrealistic to even expect to monopolize the market. So I also have some great partnerships with other media representatives in the community, just in case I encounter a client who is interested in a means of advertising that I don't offer. Together, we can take it to the next level and make sure that whatever they're advertising in both places is consistent across both of the platforms. So truly, guys, the rising tide lifts all boats. And if you can come to a realization that there's no way that you can take on the whole market yourself and find reasons to work with your competitors versus speaking illy of them or being in constant battle with them, trying to destroy somebody's business by spreading negativity actually reflects more on you than it reflects on them. So take the high road and everyone wins. Collaborate with your industry and community as a whole. Leverage your network. Get out and about in the community. Find some power partners that you can share referrals with. Who operates the product or service, a business that has the product or service before or after yours in the grand scheme of life? So a moving company, for example, could be leveraging a realtor or an organization company. Sponsor things that support charity, align with sports teams, come together as a group. It all still puts your brand out there, but it leads with a I care sort of message. It still has that underlying buy from me, but leading with that giving spirit. People don't necessarily like to be sold to. They want to choose to work with you based on their experience with your brand, impression of your business. They're more likely to reciprocate and patronize your business because of the good deeds that you're doing around the community. More to come on ROI. Steph Mazanowski here from Mindz Media with another installment of the Mindz mini-series on marketing. We need to have a little chat about this whole ROI thing. You guys who are trying to track every last lead to try and figure out where they came from are crazy. You're crazy. It's so 1980s. Let me give you an example. You're driving down Veterans Parkway. You see a billboard. It has a hammer on it. You keep driving. You don't even know you saw it. Total subliminal messaging. Until you stop at the stoplight next to that van that just so happens to have that same hammer on it. Again, what a coincidence, but you keep driving. You do nothing about it, but you might start thinking about this deck that you might want around your hot tub. You go about your day, in and out of business meetings, tend to the kids after school programs, whatever it is. You get home, you grab the mail, you're flipping through your neighborhood magazine. What do you know? ABC Hammer Company. That's the 3rd time today that I've seen that hammer. And there's an article about decks. What do you know? Am I going to call them right now? Of course not. It's time for Wheel of Fortune. So I'm going to pour a glass of wine, I'm going to kick back, I'm going to watch the wheel, and I'm going to look for deck ideas on Pinterest. And then tomorrow, I'm going to Google ABC Hammer Company, and I'm going to call them, and I'm going to see, they look legit, they have a nice website, they've got good reviews. I'm going to call them for a quote. They think Google sent me because I called this special number associated with Google, but really, guys, what method of advertising brought me? All of the above, working in conjunction with each other. It was the same set of eyeballs seeing the same message in multiple places that brought me, right? So might I suggest, if it's so important to you to track where everybody comes from, set up a checklist and have your clients mark everywhere that they saw you, everywhere they remember seeing you. Have them check all the boxes, not just one box, not just the last box, but all of the boxes. And then at the end of the year, tally up the top 3 or 4 ways that people saw you. And if only 2 or 3 people saw you on the back of a shopping receipt, chuck that method for next year. Tracking is fine, but getting hung up on the tracking and thinking that it's truly one method that is sending somebody is not good. Timing is also key. What is the timeline of your product or service? Is it instant need? Is it 6 months, a year, maybe longer than a year, you might be trying to track something that's not even finished yet. They may not need you for another year, but they saw your ad today. And if you're trying to track after 3 or 6 months, that number has not converted yet. So you got to wait a little bit, see if things are working. It's constant and consistent repetition in front of the same people over and over and over again from multiple directions. And then guess what? As soon as they need your product or service, you're top of mind because you've been in front of them no matter which way they're looking. Make sense? More to come on choosing the right channels based on the various layers of the funnel. Steph Mazanowski here from Mindz Media and another installment of the Mindz mini-series on marketing. There are so many places that you could be putting your marketing dollars. And as you're having these marketing discussions with the various reps around the industry, just beware of the shorter term campaigns. Those days are kind of over, unless maybe you're a car wash or a restaurant or something like that that makes sense to have coupons. But if you're looking for customers who are going to be repeat clients and going to be loyal, man, if you're offering up a deal just to get your clients, they might grab it this time, but the next time they need your product or service, they're going to jump ship and they're going to go to the guy who's offering a deal the next time. And if you remember that funnel at the bottom there, that's your coupon clippers. And just be careful not to invest too much in trying to secure a fraction of 3% of the market when there's 97% of the market left out there to be grabbed. And there's different strategies for different stages of the funnel, and you kind of need to have them going simultaneously because different people are at different stages. So for the 60% that don't even know who you are, trade shows, billboards, aligning with charity, apparel, that sort of thing will start driving unaware traffic to at least know who you are. And then in the middle of the funnel, once people know about your business, it's time to establish yourself as an expert of the industry. And notice I said an expert versus the expert. Even if you're new, you know more than 90% of the people that you are serving. So there might be others in the industry that have been around longer or know more than you, but don't sell yourself short. You know what you're doing, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. Content is king, and you've probably heard that when it comes to marketing, whether it be podcasts or a video or articles in my magazines. Get some content out there. You know the buyer journey. You're a buyer of other things, and we all like to research. We Google it. We ask our friends, Siri and Alexa. We all like to know a little bit more about what we're buying or asking for service on before we engage. None of us go to a car lot unless we're 75-80% sure that we're going to buy a car, right? We do that research in advance. And the same thing likely applies to your industry. So why don't you write about it? Why don't you talk about it? Why don't you do a video about it? And these days, you don't even have to be a good writer. You can leverage a little AI and get some help from ChatGPT. Ultimately, let people know what they're Googling so that they hear it from you. And then you're seen as an expert of your industry, showcase what you know, and then when people need your product or service, they're more likely to come to you because they think you know what you're doing, and you do. You answered their questions, and so they respect that. They see you as an expert in the industry. And at the end of the day, the constant repetition over and over and over again, educating on various platforms along the way, aligning with the good that's happening in the community, all of it works towards building this brand loyalty and a connection with the people. And people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And at the end of the day, your business is going to thrive on relationships versus the transactions. And while we're talking about relationships versus transactions, also beware as you're having these conversations about marketing that there may be situations where people are making promises about the results that you're going to get with your marketing. And that is very transactional, and they're just trying to make that transaction happen. And I would just be leery because there's so much to it. And part of this is on you. I can put you in front of the people and I can spread the word about your business, but I don't know if your office is messy or if your office manager is having a bad day or what experience they're going to have when they come in your door or even what quality of product you have. So they may turn away because of the experience that they had, and that's not my fault. That's partially on you, right? And so as a person that sells advertising, You can't make promises that you can't keep. So I promise my clients that I'm going to put them in front of the people with the most buying power here in the community each month, and that I'm going to help them spread the word and be another set of eyes, ears, and voice for them in the community. But you will never hear me say, I guarantee you're going to get 30 new clients out of this campaign, because I don't know what happens when they enter your building. Make sense? More to come on online presence and reputation management. Steph Mazanowski here from Mindz Media and the last installment of the Mindz mini-series on marketing. If you missed the others, let me know. I'll be happy to get those over to you. But in this segment, we're going to chat a little bit about online presence and managing your reputation online. So if you think about your own buying behavior for a moment, after you've seen a brand a few times and it's starting to become familiar, maybe you saw something for the first time and you're super curious, be it on a billboard, online, on TV, what do you do next? What's your next step? Do you call the business and ask them to tell you their company history and a little bit about their product or service? Of course not. That's just not what we do. What do we do instead? We ask Siri, we ask Alexa, we Google it. And in order to show up in those search results, it's super important to be listed on the various online directories. And there's a bunch of them. And it's kind of like the modern day yellow pages, but it's not enough to just be listed. You need to be accurate and consistent as well in order for Google to do its thing and help you organically show up in the search results. And then think for a second about the results that do pop up whenever you ask Siri for landscapers near me. Some are there and appear to be super reputable businesses because they have their information filled out with 4- and 5-star reviews, a website, photos, etc. And then there's some that are just the business name and the telephone number. How likely are you to choose that one that looks like a skeleton? And then as buyers, we dig a little deeper and we want to read through the reviews and we want to know that other people have had a good experience with that company. And if not, how was it resolved? And to separately manage all of those listings and each of the places where reviews live is daunting. The good news is I have a dashboard where we can put all your information in one spot. Your website, hours, photos, holiday hours as we approach the holidays, exactly how you want it to appear. And then we push it out to all the relevant apps, maps, voice apps, and search engines, ensuring that you show up with accuracy and consistency, which at the end of the day is what helps you be found and more likely chosen. And then if a review lives on one of those sites, we pull that into your dashboard as well so that you can answer all those from one place. It's pretty cool. When I first started with the magazines, we were print only, and that's still our bread and butter, most effective way to reach the local residents with the most buying power. But over the last few years, we have bent and flexed with industry trends and innovated some great tools for business owners to more easily manage it all. We recognize the importance of multi-channel. We recognize the importance of being able to have a platform to educate. We recognize that it takes consistency and repetition and that it's a marathon, not a sprint. So if you're tired of just throwing spaghetti at the walls, hoping that something sticks and can't figure out what works, and would like to explore some solutions that have actually been designed to give you exposure in ways that match the current buying journey and the buyer behaviors, I'm here for you. We can chat. Many methods of advertising that are out there, though, are outdated and have not taken the current trends into consideration. This marketing in a box campaign that I have has print, it has digital, it has all the necessary components to build and maintain your brand and help you align with the good that's happening here. And sure, you could get some of those components from other places, but some of the pieces of the puzzle are exclusive to our company. And it's kind of like insurance. If you have your house, your car, your boat, your camper, your motorcycle, all with the same insurance agent, you're going to get a bundle discount versus getting those 5 policies from 5 different agents, right? So that's kind of what I do for you for marketing. And many of my clients have expressed that for the cost of digital alone elsewhere, they can get print and digital with me. And part of that is no agency fees, but also you get me. I'm out and about in the community, eyes, ears, and voice for you, looking out for opportunities to open doors for you, making introductions along the way when I can. And I don't know if what I have to offer is a good fit for you. It may not be. Ultimately, you'll be the one that decides that. But what I do know is I'm an expert at what I do, so you don't have to worry about it. You can then be the expert at what you do for your clients. Steph Mazanowski from Mindz Media. Let's grab a coffee and just see if it makes sense to partner up in any way. If nothing else, I'll be a great referral partner for you. I have a huge network. Would love to just get to know you better and see what we can do for each other. Have a great one.